Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's go!
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Welcome to the Susan LoPresti Wellness Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. Today, I'm honored to introduce Silvia Araya. Silvia was born in Costa Rica and now living in the United States. She is a clinical trauma professional with over 15 years of experience helping people heal from panic attacks, anxiety, and unresolved trauma. Her unique and compassionate approach blends psychology with powerful healing modalities such as internal family systems, IFS, trauma-informed yoga, family constellations, and Bach Flower Therapy, helping individuals move beyond survival mode and into true emotional freedom. Silvia holds a BA in psychology and a licensed degree in clinical psychology, and she is also certified in Bach Flower Therapy, pranic healing, trauma-informed yoga, numerology, and family constellations. She is the author of the transformative book, Is This What I Really Want? How to Go Beyond Trauma into the Relationship You Deserve, where she guides readers towards healing past wounds and creating healthier, more fulfilling relationships. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Silvia Araya to my podcast. Silvia, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited too.
You're welcome. So, Silvia, can you share your journey from Costa Rica to the United States and how that path actually led you into the field of trauma healing and anxiety support?
Yeah, so those two they go very interestingly together. I studied psychology in Costa Rica. Actually, I was having panic attacks while I was in school.
Oh.
And it became my whole focus. That was my graduation thesis. Everything really was about panic attacks and anxiety. And then in 2018, I met my husband, which is also, it was also not the culmination, but it was part of a process that I was also doing with myself around trauma, because I realized that because of trauma, I was finding the wrong partners. Yeah. So in my head, the question of trauma was always there, not only for anxiety and panic attacks, but also I started to realize that it was shaping my relationships. And so in 2018, I met my husband. It was in Costa Rica, but then we decided to live here in the United States. And so it was very interesting because I realized, yeah, trauma really is at the root of everything. And so I just focused on that from then on and got my certification as a trauma specialist.
Now, was it suppressed trauma or did you know what the trauma was? Because I know that a lot of people have suppressed trauma. They block it out, like maybe childhood trauma, and it's blocked out and you don't know why you're experiencing anxiety and panic attacks. How was it for you?
I think it was a little bit of both. So I am aware that I was born with a medical condition. And so the first 3 years of my life basically were about doctors and tests. And I even had a really big surgery at the age of 3 that was 14 hours long. And I still have memories of those years. Even though I was very young, I keep a lot of memories because some of them were very traumatic. But I think there were other things that I wasn't aware of. So that's why I'm saying there was a combination of things that were unconscious and things that I was aware of, but I just didn't know how much they were affecting me. I think that's the key. I knew that I had all that medical trauma. I just didn't know how much it was burning my system until all of this came up and the panic basically just brought everything so that I could see it and heal it. And then I realized, wow, okay, I didn't know that was so painful. For me back then, I just thought, oh, I'm just gonna get it over it and continue with your life. And it's not that simple sometimes.
If only it was that simple.
Yeah.
So I know that you have 15 years of expertise helping people with panic attacks and anxiety. What first inspired you to focus on these challenges? Was it because of your own personal experience?
Yeah, mainly that. I knew that I wanted to, I knew that I always knew that I wanted to support people some way or another. I just didn't know how exactly. And so when I was in school, I kept thinking about different paths that I could take as a clinical psychologist, but it was just so clear. It was so clear to me when I had my first episodes of panic attacks. I remember asking myself, okay, either I'm the worst psychologist in the world or I have to do something with this. So this
Right.
is a message that I have to actually this could be something that I could follow. And that's what I chose. I chose to see it as a sign that this was a way for me to support people, basically from my own experience.
Yeah. And these panic attacks started when you started studying to be a psychologist, right? It didn't happen when you were younger in grade school or high school.
And now that I look back, I probably had one or two when I was in high school and maybe one when I was in middle school. But I didn't know back then. I didn't know that they were panic attacks. And they were so far apart from each other that I couldn't connect it. So now that I look back, I thought, oh, yeah, I had anxiety problems that I didn't know. And when I was in university studying, what happened is that I think a lot of things just, it was like the perfect storm,
Yeah.
basically. So that's what happened. I've been accumulating a lot of things, like you said, unconsciously, and then you put together all the ingredients in the soup, and then you start the heat, like I say, and then it starts boiling, and voila, you
Yeah.
have panic attacks.
Yeah. Maybe one or two little things you could keep it suppressed and keep it under control. But as things start heating up, let's use that as an example, and they start boiling over in the pot, and you just can't suppress that. So many people experience panic attacks, but they don't fully understand what is happening in the body. And full disclosure, a couple of years ago, I also started to have anxiety where I never did before. So, can you explain what a panic attack is and why it feels so overwhelming? And what is happening in your body? I would feel like my body was physically vibrating, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
I've heard it all. I've heard it all. Believe me, and I say this to my clients all the time. Whatever it is, tell me I've probably heard it before. Yeah, so panic is, the way I explain it and the way I see it is, again, It's when there's just a lot that has been bottled up and it just starts to come out, right? It's like when you have a water glass and you start pouring water until it just starts to come out, right? So that's to me what panic attack is. It's like when the system tells you, okay, here's something is happening. It is like an alarm. And I've heard other people and other professionals calling it an alarm. And I agree. It's almost like that smoke alarm. Yeah, at your house, that when you have enough smoke or something happening, starts to beep and tells you, hey, something is happening. You need to look. You need to look inside. So those are panic attacks to me. They're just messengers telling us something is going on. And in the body, what's happening, it's precisely that. The nervous system is here to make not only survival, but also to protect us. And one of the ways that it protects us is that way. It's letting us know something is happening. You need to look. And again, sometimes not the best strategy. I agree. A panic attack, it's not fun. It's very uncomfortable. I wish no one had to go through it because it's also traumatic. But it's probably the only way the system is like, hey, you're not paying attention. I've told you in different ways and you didn't listen. So I'm going to have to be loud. And those loud signals vary from person to person. Like you said, in your case, could feel like vibration. In my case, it was my chest. I felt like I couldn't breathe, like it was very tight. There were also thoughts about, am I dying?
Yeah.
Is yeah, am I going crazy? And again, I've heard it all from sweating to cold to feeling hot to feeling pain in certain places or tightness or even like trembling, things like that. And I know it sounds horrible and it feels even worse, but I also want to tell people it's not dangerous at all. Just want you to know it's not dangerous at all. Just because the alarm is going off doesn't mean that your house is actually burning, right? But it's difficult because the symptoms are so real that it's difficult to think that it's something it's not going to happen.
But now, so your body has a panic attack, right? But if this is suppressed trauma, it's not telling you why you're feeling this way. How do you figure out, like, why is this happening to me?
That's a great question. I wish
Like,
it were
you
clear.
said
Yeah,
your body wants to be aware, wants
yeah.
to make you aware, but then tell me the full story.
No, I agree 100%. It would be better if it came with a little message saying exactly
Yes.
what it is, right? No, it doesn't tell you exactly what it is. It just tells you something is up or there's a lot happening here, right? It tells you there's a lot here, the water is boiling, the soup is overflowing, right? And but you have to go back and look at what the ingredients are in that soup. And I tell my clients, sometimes there's a little piece of carrot and a little piece of corn, and then sometimes you find a little big one, a little piece of something that is very important that you need to look at. And those are most of the times there are wounds from our childhood. It could
So
be
that's,
from adulthood, but yeah, mostly childhood.
yeah, I was going to ask you, what are the most common hidden causes of chronic anxiety and panic that
Yeah.
most people actually overlook?
Yeah, there's a combination of things. So anxiety is not just one cause. There's trauma there. Obviously, there's wounds that we carry. There's also beliefs and the way we were raised. There's also family trauma. So this is interesting
Oh,
because yeah,
generational, right?
yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Because some people tell me, I don't know, I don't understand why I'd be scared of getting choked with my food. I've never had anything like that happen to me. And then we go back and see in their family, oh, your dad had a situation or your grandparents. Or so there's a lot of elements that can play there. And some people even said genetic, but I think genetic is also tied to the intergenerational trauma that hasn't been solved. So it is a little tough in the sense that you have to become a little detective and go in, but that's also part of the journey. I think when you start to go in and play detective and start exploring what can it be, what I think that's also part of the healing because then you start to have a relationship with yourself. And that is healing on itself. Just having conversations with yourself and a relationship with yourself. I think it's so interesting. I find it that it's one of the biggest gifts I've had because of my panic attacks.
Yeah. So I know that you use internal family systems in your work. Is that what you were meaning when you said that you go back into the history of the line of generations?
Yeah, yes, and family constellations would be more for intergenerational
Ah,
trauma. Yes, or internal family systems. It's more about when you look at the soup and you see all the ingredients and you go ingredient by ingredient, like part by part, right? Because again, it's a lot of things that can be happening at once. So you might have a part of you that is tired from your job. So that's a part. Then there's a part of you that is also not happy with the relationship they're in. Then there's a part of you that also is holding the trauma from childhood. And then there's also a part of you that feels, why am I here? What's
yeah,
the purpose in life? So all those different parts is a little bit like that movie Inside Out, having all
yeah,
those characters inside of you,
yeah.
and they're all, yeah, exactly. So that is internal family systems.
Okay, okay. And you also integrate trauma-informed yoga. How can movement and breath work help regulate the nervous system and reduce anxiety? I'm very
It's
curious about that.
Yeah, it's so important and sometimes so overlooked because we now know that trauma is not like here, right here in your brain or here at the tip of your nose or here. It can be everywhere. It can be stored in tissues in your body, even. It can be in your nervous system, right? The nervous system covers everything in your body, touches every single organ and every single part. So basically, we feel with our body, we
Yeah,
feel with the entirety of our bodies. So it's not crazy to think that we also need to take care of the body as we're healing. So, movement and certain practices that help not only breathing, but also releasing of these emotions that are stored in our body are very important, but it needs to be done in a way that is gentle, that it doesn't feel painful, that it doesn't feel traumatic. All those, that's why there is trauma informed yoga, because we don't want people to get re-traumatized. Or no, it can happen in a very gentle way. You can release something in a smooth way, actually feeling relief and even happiness, crying tears of joy
yeah.
sometimes.
I actually had that experience as we're talking about this years ago in a yoga class. I belonged to a yoga studio, and nothing unusual was going on in my life. But after the practice, when we were in Shavasana, I just started crying, and I was like, "What the hell? Why am I crying?" But it actually felt good when I got up and left and I was walking to my car. I felt lighter, but I did never made the connection like why that actually happened. So there are specific yoga classes that are trauma-informed yoga classes.
Yes, absolutely. So
Ah,
what we do in those, it's pretty much the same movements or poses that people are used to, but it's done in a much gentler way. And it's not about getting there, or it's not about achieving certain goal in the class. It's more about feeling. It's more about, okay, if you feel like your body's telling you stop here, stop, listen to it. So we're doing it in a more conscious way than regular practice, I would say. And we focus a lot on the jaw. We focus a lot on the hips, because we know now that there's a lot of tension stored in our jaws and our hips. So we focus a lot there, but again, with care and a lot of compassion, because we don't want to open up again more wounds. If it happens spontaneously, like it happened to you, it's wonderful. And you don't even have to know what was the gut
no,
release.
I
You don't have
never.
to, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, doesn't matter, really. It's out, and that's what's important. So, yeah, and I think it can happen. It happened to me at the gym. I wasn't even doing yoga. I was just doing some strength exercises. And I remember when your muscles start to shake,
Yes.
that's when you start releasing. And so I remember being at the gym, just doing my regular, and then I started shaking and I wanted to cry. And I'm like, I can't cry at the gym. What's happening?
Oh my God. Our bodies are so incredible and intuitive. I think our body sometimes is smarter than our head. You know, it really can talk to you, but you have to be able to decipher what are you trying to tell me because I really don't know. So family constellations, that's very fascinating to many people, right? Can you explain what it is and how family patterns may contribute to anxiety or relationship struggles, like you mentioned?
Yeah. Family constellations is something that I knew about for a long time, but it wasn't until I started to feel this. We were hitting a wall sometimes with my clients. We hit a wall, and I was like, what is happening? We've done everything, we've gone to their childhood. There's something else. There's something else. And family constellations opens up that space because it tells us, okay, it's probably something that didn't happen to you, but it happened to you, your father, your mother, your grandparents, your whole lineage. And so that was fascinating to me because I just realized, wow, we have more tools now to work with, a bigger space. And so what we look at is not only the way that families are positioned, every member of the family's place has a meaning in family constellations, because sometimes it happens that as a daughter, as a son, we put ourselves in the place of the parent, or the parent sometimes goes in place as the kid. We do that sometimes in families, and that carries emotional and energetic burdens to us. We look into that. We look also into traumas that have been passed on generation to generation, and we work with those too. It doesn't matter that the person is no longer there. It doesn't matter, oh, grandmother is no longer here. How can I work with this? It doesn't matter because it lives in you. You have it too. So we can just work on that through you, and it can have a ripple effect into your family.
But let's say that several generations back, something traumatic happened to someone, but you don't know what that was. How do you uncover that?
It's exactly what we were talking about. You don't need to know. You don't need to know what is being released in the trauma exercise, right? Sometimes it does get revealed. Sometimes during the activity, or it's hard to explain how family constellation works, but
Yeah.
in the group setting, which is the most powerful one, people come and they don't know you necessarily, and they just start feeling something. And it's all done mostly by energy and intuition. And sometimes some information comes to you. I don't know why, but I'm feeling this
Oh,
grief. I'm feeling a grief like I lost a child. And you can say, I never just lost a child, but I'm feeling this grief like I lost a child. What is this? And then you go back, you talk to your family, and then someone tells you, oh, yeah, grandma, she lost a child. We just don't talk about it because it happened a very long time ago, right? There it is, right? So sometimes you do get the information or you get the confirmation, and that helps. But again, you don't have to always know. As long as it gets released and healed, that's what matters.
yeah. Yeah. I did past life regression a couple of times, and I did get some information about my family from that as
Yeah.
well. So I know you certified in Bach Flower Therapy. Can you explain what that is and how it can help to support emotional healing in a natural way?
Yeah. Dr. Edward Bach was a pioneer in his era, and in the early 1900s, he started drinking the little drops of water that he would find on his garden, on his flowers, and he started to realize, oh, I'm feeling different just by drinking little drops like the mist from the morning. Yeah, that's when he started to transition into remedies, natural remedies. And we have 38 flowers from his system, but now we realize every flower really in the world has a property or something that it helps you balance. It's more about balancing emotional states more than anything. And the good thing is that it's completely natural. Like you said, it's 100% safe. It's something that, for example, a pregnant person can have, and it's okay. children, pets, animals. Actually, I just had a client just before this recording asking me, can my dogs have a little bit? And I said, of course they can. So
Oh,
yeah. So it's very gentle, very subtle. It's not like you have a dose and then you feel different. It's not about that. It's just slowly starts to bring balance into your system. And because it doesn't have any side effects, that was the only thing that I felt safe enough to have when I was having panic attacks, because I was so scared of anything and everything at that
yeah.
time. I didn't even want to take an aspirin. I was so scared. But this I would take. I would take
Do
my
you
Class.
ingest the liquid or do you inhale it or do both?
It's mostly you put it in the mouth. It's like a little tincture drop. You take the drops and you put them in your mouth. But you can also do it with your skin. You can make it into lotion and put it in your skin, or some people just do it like a mist. It's various ways, but the most effective one and the one that we use the most is you put it in your under your tongue. Yeah.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Where is Daredevil? I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
So do you create these yourself, these mixtures, or do you buy them?
Both. So the tinctures depends on the flower, right? Because most of the 38 flowers that I was talking about, they grow in England because that's where Dr. Batch used to live. You only can get them in England. If you try to plant them in Costa Rica, it won't work. The other way around, we have tropical plants that won't even survive a winter. So that's why there are different systems now. We have the Amazon flowers, the California flower system, the Australia flower system. So it depends on the region. But yeah, it's very easy to do yourself. You can just create the tincture at home. Again, very easy. Or you can just buy it. I think most flowers you can find online and you can just buy it and get it for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of them before, but I never utilized it myself. I wanted to ask you, many women over 50 carry a lot of unresolved stress, grief, trauma from early stages of life. And that you probably weren't 50, but it happened to you later on in your life. How can this show up later in life physically and emotionally? Like, why does it take so long for it to come to the surface?
Oh, I love this question. And specifically for women, there are a lot of elements there. I would say that for most women, our experience is that we have so much to handle. We have so much to take care of our whole lives that there is no time, energy, room, bandwidth to
Yes.
even go and deal with ourselves and what's happening here, what's going on in here inside. And so we just push, right? And in the most productive years of our lives, we push a career out, we push children out into the world. We're doing all these things for other people and the outside world. And so I think that by the time we get to 40, 50, 60, and the children are all grown up and they go and do their own lives, and maybe we start thinking about retirement or we shift our careers or something like that, it's when oh, wow, I have the time now. I have now some bandwidth to be going inside and looking at what's happening. And with that, I'm also going to add the hormonal changes that we go through.
Yes.
And so now I'm in perimenopause and I've started to realize a lot of things and things that are happening in my brain and my body. And all of that, all those hormonal changes also bring it's also, again, part of that soup that we were talking about. Then it's adding that to the soup. So sometimes I see a lot of people in their menopause or perimenopause stages saying, I've never experienced anxiety, but now I am. And I'm
Yes.
like, of course, because your body's going through all these changes. So it makes sense. It makes sense that you're going through some anxiety right now, or panic attacks even. Yeah.
Yes. I think also when you're in perimenopause and menopause, you also realize I want to take care of me. I'm done taking care of everyone else. And a lot of times women in midlife end up getting divorced, especially once their kids are out of the house and now they're looking at their spouse and saying, what's next? Or who are you? Because we haven't even gotten acquainted in a while. And so, yeah, that is a really big transition in life. And I could see a lot of different things that would take place. And women get a little bit more selfish and want to do more for themselves. And they're done catering and being mommy to everyone else in their life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot happening in those years. And in a way, it's very important. And I would say even mandatory
Yeah.
to take advantage of that and say, no, and like you said, I think it's good to be selfish. I think it's good to think about myself for a change. And yes, all these things are happening in my life. Yes, maybe I'm getting divorced, or I'm thinking about moving to another
Yeah.
location, or maybe changing careers, or uh, anything that is going on. I think it's a very powerful time in our
Yeah.
lives. Saturn return is happening too, our second Saturn return, which is also very powerful. It's an
Mhm.
invitation for, like you said, to just review our lives, to
Yeah.
say, is this what I want for the coming decades? Is this, maybe not. And that's okay. So much power in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that time of life we feel the most powerful that we ever did before.
Yeah.
And it's liberating and it's great.
Yeah. I
I want
agree.
to talk about your book.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
this what I really want? Because that sort of segues.
There you go. That was perfect.
What inspired you to write this book and tell us a little bit about it. I think I
I'm,
want to read
yeah,
it.
I'm a slow writer. So I want to start with that. I'm a slow writer because sometimes it takes me years to write a book. But the reason why is because I'm doing research, and I try things in myself before I put them out there for my clients or in my books. And so this book, very interestingly, I got the title first, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes I get the title is the hardest part and it's the last thing I do. But this one, I got the title first. And it's a very powerful question. Again, in the moment we ask ourselves, is this what I really want? An answer pops in. And when someone tells me, no, I don't hear it, no, it's not, it's there. You're probably blocking it because we don't want to acknowledge it. We're not ready to hear it. We don't have the resources. But deep down, we always know what we want, or at least we know what we don't want.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that's a start. And so I knew that this book would be very important, not just for relationships, it's anything in life really, because the moment you ask yourself that, you align yourself in the path that you really want or that you truly deserve. So constantly asking yourself, is this what I really want? Is this, for even with the simplest thing, like for lunch, is this what I really, it's salmon what I really want? No, then why am I eating salmon?
Yes.
Things like that, right? Or do I really, is this what I really want? I wanted to come here and have coffee with these people. And then you go inside, no, I really didn't want to come here. I wanted to stay home. Then why am I putting myself through these situations? But in terms of relationships, I was just going through relationships that were not serving me. They were with people who were not available emotionally, physically. Was even in an abusive relationship, and that's all in the book. And I said, I need to figure out why this is happening, why I am in my 30s and I haven't found a person who truly respects me and loves me and accepts me for who I am and treats me with dignity. And I'm still begging and taking crumbs from people. Why is this happening? So this whole book is an exploration of going inside. And again, this is why it takes me years to write it. because I went inside and I started asking myself the questions. I started looking at my family system. I started looking at my inner child, all the beliefs that I had around myself. And then I realized, wow, this is why I've been accepting the partners that are treating me this way instead of the one that I really want. And when I finished all of that cycle, I met my husband, like I said, and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to finish the book. Now that I've met my husband, now
Wow.
the book is complete. Yeah. So that's when I finished the book.
And so you met your husband, and now he is not like the other relationships. You were able to find a match that you deserve to have.
Yes. I absolutely. And he's not perfect, okay? He's
Who
not, because
is?
nobody is, exactly. No one is perfect. I'm not gonna come here and tell you I found the perfect man, the knight and the white horse doesn't exist. But I found, and I created this list when I was doing this whole experiment on myself. I created a list of everything I wanted in a partner. And every single thing, my husband checks that. Every single
Wow.
thing. And even more. And I finished the list saying, and more. And he has surprised me in ways that I can't. It's unbelievable. And every day I say to myself, and I deserve this. And I deserve to be loved like this. I deserve to have a loving partner. I deserve to be in a loving, caring relationship. I deserve this. And the minute that it doesn't serve me, then I can decide to move on or not. But I know what I'm worth now, and I know what I deserve.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, how does unresolved trauma affect a relationship that we choose or we just stay in?
Yeah,
It's like a
it's
vicious cycle, right?
it is. It is. And the very core of the book. So again, going back into my childhood, I realized all of this beliefs and things that happened with my parents that led me to think that I had to prove myself to them constantly, that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't lovable. And so when you start with that, obviously that's what you will find in your life. You will find people that basically reaffirm that unconsciously. It's not like we are going in the street thinking, I want to be abused, right? But
Yeah.
unconsciously,
No.
you just find yourself situations like that. I would say that intergenerational trauma played a big role. And I speak about that in the book because when I was in that abusive relationship, it dawned on me, it clicked. And I remember calling my mom and saying to her, I think I'm in your marriage. And
Wow.
I think I'm in my, and I got goosebumps again as I said that. And I said, and I think I'm also in grandma's marriage right now because that's where it started. My grandfather was abusive. My grandfather was a tyrant. Bless his heart. He was doing what he knew how to do, right? He was a very difficult person to live with. And my grandmother just stood there and she didn't say anything. She didn't stood up for herself. And then my mother went and not in the same way, but she was also in a relationship that wasn't balanced in any way. And it was very, yeah, my whole life I was a psychologist at that point, and I remember thinking that's not going to happen to me. And then I was there and I thought, oh no, here I am again. Here's the cycle, third generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It almost becomes the norm. Your grandmother was in that relationship and your mom saw it. And how else is your mom going to learn? She's going to learn from what she lived, right? That's what all she knew. And so it became normal for her. And then it became normal for you. And then you broke the pattern.
That's it. And that's how trauma gets passed on in life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And breaking the pattern is the most important thing to do.
It is. Yeah. So all of those things play, like, again, your own wounds, but also looking at what's been happening in your family also plays a big part. And those wounds and those traumas that my grandmother and my mom didn't have the opportunity to even look at. No one had the time, the resources back then, the
Right.
knowledge. But these generation, we have that. So that's a bit of opportunity.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's funny because my mom's side of the family, she was one of 13 children. Two of them didn't make it, but 13. And sometimes I think about my grandmother, that she had these children, and I think about, and this is crazy, but did she want to have these children, or was it that she was almost forced to? I don't know. It's just weird, but it gets you thinking about things, because I know for me, I would never want to have 13 children. And my grandfather was the boss of the family back then, and the woman was just there to please the man.
Same
But
here.
for our listeners who feel stuck in fear or anxiety, what's the first step towards healing and creating healthier relationships?
I would say start with yourself. I know it feels a little cliche, but start with yourself. Start having a relationship with yourself. And that's going to open the doors to other things. It's going to open the doors to better relationships in your lives, and it's going to open the doors to your inner child. And that's where the real healing happens, in especially for anxiety and panic attacks, at least in my experience. And sometimes we got to start by realizing that I don't want to have a relationship with myself, and that's okay. That's a step. That's a step. But if you are willing and ready to go further, start having a relationship with yourself like you would have with any other person. Treat yourself like you would with a girlfriend or boyfriend or the neighbor or your sister, exactly that way. Talk to yourself that way. Talk to yourself in a way that you wouldn't be rude to your friend, right? So why are you rude to yourself?
Yes, we're so hard on ourselves, especially as women. We're always judging ourselves and looking at all the things that we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not skinny enough, and we don't look at our good qualities. There's a lot of beautiful things about us, and we're our own worst critic sometimes. So that's excellent advice. I also want to jump into this, and that is that you studied numerology and also energy healing. So, how do these modalities complement traditional psychology in your practice?
This is the fun part for me. Not that the other practices are not fun, but honestly, numerology is just fun for me. I just enjoy it. It's almost like my hobby. And it came to me, I wasn't looking for it. And so back in 2009, something like that, I heard it on a radio show that probably was called, it should be called now a podcast. And I was just curious. So I started doing the numbers for all my family. I started doing the numbers for my dad and my sister and my mom and all my ex-boyfriends. And then I realized, whoa, okay, things are making sense.
That explains it.
Everything, exactly. I understand everything now. So I became more and more obsessed with it. And I've been using it in my practice ever since. And it helps me because I can see the archetypes, I could see the personality traits even before the person tells me. And sometimes they don't even know. And I don't use it in a predictive way or in a way that says, oh, you're this and that's who you are and that's who you'll be, right? No, I see it more in a way that it's a tool to help you find balance in your life, because numbers have light and shadow, right? Numbers have the balance and the imbalance side. And so, what it helps me is to understand, okay, if you're unbalanced, I can help you come into harmony, right? Or if you're in the shadow side of your number, we can come into the light, because every number has a gift. There's no good or bad number, really. So, it's almost, I integrated it almost like a way to coach people and to, yeah, achieving more harmony and sometimes even finding their purpose or finding their gifts. And with the energy healing, I sometimes forget I have that tool, but it's beautiful because you can do it from a distance. You can do it with the person in front of you. And I tell people it's almost like a little massage, even if I'm not touching you.
Yeah. Is it Reiki? Are you a Reiki master?
It's similar. It's called pranic healing.
Oh, yes.
It's like a cousin of Reiki. Yeah.
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 So back to the numerology for a moment. The
Mm.
numbers, are they based on your birth date or the year that you were born or the whole combination?
Yeah, I mostly use the birthday, although you can use numerology with everything. The number on your house, the number of your
Oh,
street, yeah, your zip code, everything. It really is numbers and vibration and frequency. But I do mostly just the birthday, sometimes the name you can do as well. But just the day, the month, and the year you were born gives me enough to know about you, even if we haven't even exchanged a word. And
wow.
so it's yeah, and with couples it's also fun because I get to sometimes yeah, people come and can you do our numbers? And then I say, okay, this is interesting because you have opposite numbers. So this should be fun.
Very cool. I love that. I love that. Sylvia, give my audience some final thoughts to finish this.
Yeah, I would say that take everything in your life as a messenger. Every struggle, every difficulty, every wound in your life, take it as a messenger and also take it as a gift. Think if you can turn it around and help other people that are going through the same thing, you're going to look at the pain and the suffering in a very different way.
Wow, that's a great way to end this. I love it. This was such a great conversation. I learned so much about you. And not only that, but your energy is so beautiful, so calming, even the way you speak. Yes, I loved it. Thank
Oh,
you so
so
much for being
much.
here today. I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Yeah, you as well.
Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your wisdom, your compassion, and your powerful insights on healing anxiety, panic attacks, trauma, and relationships. Your message is such an important reminder that no matter what we've been through, healing is possible, and we truly can create the life and love that we deserve. To my listeners, if today's conversation resonated with you, please share this episode with someone who may need support and encouragement right now. Be sure to connect with Silvia Araya, explore her work, and check out her book, Is This What I Really Want? How to Go Beyond Trauma into a Relationship You Truly Deserve. As always, thank you for tuning in to Susan LoPresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others. Until the next time, remember to honor yourself, nurture your healing, and live with love, health, and purpose. Thank you for being here.